All right, guys. Well, we're gonna get to it. I am guessing most people are catching the replay this Sunday, which is fine and awesome because I love for people to be outside and doing things. That is the season for it. It's beautiful here in Washington, so hopefully it's nice wherever you are. Nikki, good job walking while we're talking right now. Good work. I think so. We've had a lot of announcements lately, but the only announcement that I have this week is to remind you to sign up for our Fitme event. So there'll be an email that goes out this week that gives you the details and everything. If you haven't done your reserved your spot, then definitely do that this week. We're going to have like these incredible weekends, one in Maryland and Ken Dylan area, and then one out in Washington in the Snoqualmie Pass. You can do one, you can do both. It's going to be one of those weekends where your cup just overflows because you're going to be coached. You're going to be able to connect with people that you've only seen on the phone or like in your pocket, and now they're going to be in person. And so it's going to be incredible, and you definitely don't want to miss it. And so because we are hosting you for the entire weekend, like putting you up to sleep and to eat food, there are limited spots. And so if you're going, make sure you do a deposit just so you can reserve your spot and you can pay the rest later. So let's get right to it. Bear with me on the sniffles. My allergies are out of control, and I have been like allergy sick for the past week. And that's kind of why I've been a little bit off the grid, is because I just have not felt well. So if I am sniffling, that is why. And I just did like some nasal spray, and I think it's going to help in the long run, but I think in the short term, the nasal spray makes me extra sniffly. So last week we talked about hunger, and I would love to hear from you guys if this was something that everybody was supposed to take action on this and kind of pay attention to their hunger cues this past week and talk to your coach about it. And so for any of you guys that are on the call, did you do it? Did you make any observations maybe that you hadn't before? What did you learn about your hunger signals? Does anybody want to share?
Morning.
Any takers want to share how they did with observing their hunger signals?
I'll share, Christy.
All right. Thanks, Diana.
You're welcome. So after the conversation last Sunday, I think somebody had mentioned how they weren't very hungry in the morning, and you had told them maybe they needed to dial back their coffee some. And so I thought that maybe I needed to do the same thing. And I definitely noticed that when I wasn't slamming the coffee in the morning, I got hungry mid-morning for that mid-morning snack, which I had been pushing out into the afternoon. So that was something that, I was being mindful about for the rest of the week. And instead of making sure I just kept going back to coffee, cup after cup, I started drinking some more water in between. And then I was getting that mid-morning craving, hunger craving that I hadn't had before. So that was just one thing I observed.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. I know we did talk about like what it feels like to be hungry in the morning when you wake up, especially when you're actively losing weight. It's pretty normal to feel hungry in the morning. So if you're not feeling hungry, we kind of want to pay attention to that. Did anybody else make any observations or any changes based off of their hunger signals this week? Did anybody like pay attention and observe it? Everybody's feeling shy about the hunger signals thing. Ellen, what did you observe?
One, I noticed I am definitely not hungry in the morning. And the routine that I've kind of been in is then I'll be like, drink my coffee, and then I'm like, oh, I'm not hungry. And then it'll probably in the later afternoon, I just feel like I don't even wait till I get hungry. I wait until it's like, oh, it's 11, out of obligation. Fine, I'll eat something. And then it's in the evening where it'll hit me so hard I just lose my mind, and then I just eat everything in sight. So that's what I've noticed my cycle, which just trying to realize now. I'm like, all right, am I really hungry, or am I just eating out of feeling like, oh, it's that time, or it's kind of the routine that I put myself on. So I need to shift it to try and get myself to be hungry in the morning, because I'm not.
Yeah, because maybe that's a really good observation, just like on what your normal day looks like. Because maybe even in having a little bit in your breakfast, something balanced in a small breakfast, it'd be interesting to see, does that change how starving you are at night? Like, does it balance out? That's what I would test, is like, okay, even though I'm not super starving in the morning, what if I had a little breakfast and then see how the rest of my day goes? Because our bodies are smart. So we tend to make up for those missed calories with those hunger cravings later. And that's probably why you're feeling like almost like desperate hungry or hangry at night. So thanks for sharing that, Ellen. That's interesting. If you try to insert breakfast, you'll have to give us an update on if that changes your evening. So from here, we're going to build on the obvious other side of this coin, which is this past week, we paid attention to hunger. This week, your job is to pay attention to your feeling of fullness or satisfaction after eating or during eating. Really what we're talking about is being mindful of our eating. And I know one of the things that probably is, it's obvious, but it's not obvious, is that we eat with more than just our mouths. So we eat with our eyes, with our nose, even with our ears. All of our senses are involved in eating. And when we take the time to slow down a little bit and we are mindful about what we're eating, our cues around whether or not we're satisfied can change. So I will be the first one to tell you that I can inhale a plate of food and not even remember that I ate it. I'll be like, did I even eat anything? I can't even remember because I was doing something else while I was eating. So I was just stuffing food in and I had no connection to it whatsoever. And oftentimes for me, that happens if I am eating while I'm working, like at my desk at the computer, or if I am juggling 45 things, like kitchen juggling, like here's something for you, here's something for you. And I'm just like stuffing food in. I feel nothing. It's like I threw food into the abyss and then it disappeared forever. And so this week, our focus for each person in Fitme is to pay attention to your mindfulness around food. Are you tasting it? Did you smell it? Did you put it on a plate and look at it with your eyeballs? One of the funny things, the like secret tricks about the Fitme plate is the fact that it's on a plate. I mean, we don't like tell you it doesn't count if you're eating it out of a container, because sometimes that's great because it can travel. But one of the secrets that people share is like how nice it looks when they have color on their plate and they've built like this nice veggies and protein and, they've got their quality carb and they've got all of this like beautiful food on their plate and they know it. And that's why it feels good to kind of take a picture of it because it looks good. Well, that signals your brain that you're going to be satisfied. It's so funny. It's not just dumping food in and then having our stomach literally be like, okay, now I'm full. One of the problems, if you've been someone who can overeat in the past, is just being aware of what it is that you're consuming and when. And so, for example, like if you can identify a time in your day where you're particularly prone to mindless eating, even just swapping. So again, we're not attaching any guilt to this. This is just, it is part of like our routine. It's what we've done. But instead of mindlessly eating tortilla chips, so say you get home from work and you're kind of stressed and you're hungry and you're trying to put dinner together and you're like mindlessly eating snacks, that would be a perfect time to make a swap. And if you're going to mindlessly eat, then it should be mindlessly eating like some carrot sticks or something, because you're not even going to think about it. You're just going to do it. Now, end of the day, like, wouldn't it be great if you savored those carrot sticks and really enjoyed them? Absolutely. Like, I'm not saying don't, but I think just paying attention to where we do this like automatic mindless eating. And maybe step one is swap. And step two is saying like, what could I replace maybe if instead? So for example, if you're mindlessly eating, you're not even enjoying it, and you're not even feeling full, then do you even need to eat it at all? Are you hungry? Or are you just stressed? Are you tired? Are you bored? Like, what are you doing that you're deciding to mindlessly eat there? And then again, it's okay to ask yourself, do I need to even be eating this? Because if the answer is no, then set it aside and address what it is that you do need. So if you get home from work and you're super stressed out, maybe you need to go for a walk before you even do anything. Maybe you need to drink a glass of water and just chill for a minute. If you've been in traffic driving through like congestion, of course you're going to come home and be like, oh my God, I need something, you know, pour me a glass of wine and give me some chips because I'm stressed. And so thinking about how did you get there? And then what do you feel like as you're eating? And so I know this is kind of a bigger target because we're talking about being mindful and we're talking about feeling satisfied or full, but they go together. So we're kind of attaching an awareness around mindless eating. And then we want to attach an awareness to the food that we are choosing to eat. So if that's a Fitme plate and you're like eating a balanced meal, what does it feel like to be just satisfied enough? Where you're not overflow full, but you're just like, man, I am perfect. Like I feel full, and acknowledging, acknowledging what that feels like. That feels great. Like I'm good. And drinking some water, maybe before you go back for seconds and thinking like, am I hungry? And just starting to ask yourself these questions without guilt. Am I still hungry? Do I need to have more food? Like what kind of food do I want? And then we want to use the same mindful eating strategy when we choose to have a treat. And so this is where we go past the like, okay, this isn't just about weight loss. This is about enjoying food too when we choose to have it. So if you go out to a restaurant and you order dessert and you're so excited to have this like treat and you taste it and it's delicious, then you should enjoy it. Like really be present, enjoy every bite of that. No guilt. Like that's a special treat that you chose. Meanwhile, maybe you go out to a restaurant and you order something off the menu and you think it's going to be an amazing dessert and you take the first bite and it's like not even good. It's kind of disappointing dessert. Like if we're being present and mindful, then you can be like, no, thanks. I'm not even going to on this one. I can't even tell you. I mean, it's so normal for us to be like, well, I ordered it, spent money on it, and it's sugar. I'm going to eat it. Even if it's not good. But if we're feeling mindful and we're really present with it, we can be like, you know what? No, it's not even worth it. I don't want it. And on the other hand, enjoying the stuff that really tastes amazing. So all of this is just a check-in with yourself. What is it that you're feeling? What do you need? Are you addressing those needs with the food that you're putting in your mouth? Are you trying to meet another need with food? And so it's just the practice of, you know, am I hungry? Did I eat? Am I full? Was I present with my eyes, with my nose, with my mouth? And now what? So no judgment attached to it, but this is your target for the week. So whether you should take a journal, which again, that might be a really good strategy for some people, is to use a paper journal and write some of this down, or just talk to your coach in Marco Polo or talk to your Marco Polo group about it. Chat about the things that you're observing. And just like with Ellen, it may not be like, okay, now I observed that and poof, like now it's problem solved. It's you ultimately have ownership over your own like body, over your own choices, over what's to come. And so observing really gives you that power and says, I've observed this for myself. Now I'm going to try this and see if this works better. And then again, you always have that ability to do that. And so Ellen's observation is awesome because now she can try something and see what happens. And so it'll be similar this week. You may make observations and be like, oh my God, I mindlessly eat every afternoon around 2:00. And then a week from now on Sunday, you're going to be like, I'm still mindlessly eating, but then you get to try something and see what works for you. Ellen, did you want to say something? You froze, but I saw your hand up.
I know. My computer keeps freezing. Because what I notice happens during this week is if I'm eating something and then I'll get that sigh thing that we've talked about, but there's more food on my plate. And then that's like the mental game. It's like, I don't want to waste this delicious food. And then it's like, okay, well, I can save a bite, but if I'm out at a restaurant, and then sometimes I'm like, that's where I'll get stuck to. That's another barrier. I'm like, well, I paid for this dinner, and then I'll finish it up, and then it goes beyond. So I need to figure out a way to realize like it's okay to leave on my plate, even if I'm halfway through and I'm full. Like today, my son took me to lunch and got this giant sandwich, and it was delicious. And I ate half of it. I'm like, I'm so full. Anyway, so I got to figure out how to deal with like just leave it, even though I paid for it, or I don't want to waste it, but I have to, or blah, blah. So that's what another barrier. The end.
Well, I've got two ideas. One is to immediately know you're someone who likes to do to go, like take home. So like any restaurant that you go to, you might just be somebody who automatically likes to take half of it home because they give you giant portions. And so you can ask for a to-go container, even put half of it in there before you even start. And then you've got it for later. And then the other thing is to share. This is like one of the great like overlooked tips, like sharing a dessert, sharing an entree ends up being like the right size portion a lot of times. But that's a really good point. And Ellen, when you were sharing that, it made me think of another thing, which is like barbecues and parties. Our brain thinks something different when it's on a plate versus like grazing. And so just another like pro tip is if you're at a barbecue or party, rather than like grazing, go ahead and put the food onto the plate so you can see it. So that way, like it'll register in your head that you're 6 lemon bars deep, because you put it on the plate. That's what I would eat 10 of if I was at a barbecue, would be those lemon bars. But if you put them on a plate, then you can see them. You can like, again, you're using all of your senses to like really enjoy it. And it's mindful and it's not just like walk by and grab. Does anybody else have thoughts on this topic on mindfulness around eating and also around like the feelings of fullness?
This is a good week for this topic because we're going on a road trip this week, for 7 days. And obviously we're going to eat out a lot. And so just being able to kind of focus on like what I want to, splurge on, what I want my treat to be. And if I'm really enjoying it, and like, I don't care about breakfast. So I can find a Fitme plate for breakfast and be in the moment for that. And then just figure out really being in the moment about what kind of treats I want to have. Cause it's not going to be a perfect 7 days, but being in the moment helps it to be a better 7 days. How about that?
Mm-hmm. And when you're traveling, you have the opportunity to like decide, is this like a treat meal or is this just a regular meal that I'm eating out?
Yes. Desserts too. There's going to be a lot of desserts. So just being in the moment on like what desserts I really like. Cause you're right. Like sometimes I'll just eat dessert to eat because I'm out and everybody else is having it. And it's like, it doesn't have to be that way.
Mm-hmm. And we usually don't feel good when we do that, when we didn't want it and we just did it anyway. And then we had more of it than we wanted. Then we have all of the feelings around it. And then it just goes into like F it mode. And then it just like opens the floodgates because it's already screwed up. So why not eat the rest of what's here? Because it's already jacked. So like just kind of having the awareness around it removes some of those guilty feelings. I remember I used to go to CrossFit like parties. We always had like, buffet style things every once in a while. And I remember filling my plate with things that were like treat food, like some of the dessert options and like whatever. And I remember because I was the head coach of the gym at the time and everybody knew I like was a nutrition coach and, all this things around health and fitness. And I remember people used to ask, they would be like, you can eat that? And I'm like, I can eat whatever I want because I'm going to enjoy this. And like, it was like they wanted to attach their guilty feelings onto my plate, but I didn't have any guilty feelings because I had like carefully chosen the things that I knew were going to be delicious. And I was pumped about them. and I wasn't going to be eating that nonsense tomorrow. So I didn't feel any bad feelings about it. I just was enjoying the moment, being with people and celebrating the occasion, and then it was done. But it was funny because everyone else inside was feeling things about what they were putting on their plates. And so my hope for everybody in Fitme is we get to the point where we don't have so many times where we have all those feelings. We can really be present and enjoy our food. We can eat balanced plates that really make us feel full and satisfied. We can be aware of the times when we mindlessly eat and either substitute something different and more, I don't know, something that serves us better in those moments, or we could make a good swap and kind of like take advantage of that time for some like crunchy veggies or something like that. And then at the end of the day, start to identify things that we really enjoy and just kind of being good with it. The last thing I'll say about this whole topic is I've mentioned it a few times, but there's a book by Rob Wolf. It's called Wired to Eat. And I have mentioned this book a few times, but in this book, he talks about hyper palatable food. And there are certain foods that were like engineered so that our signals don't work. And so all the stuff that we're talking about right now, oh, I feel full. Oh, I feel satisfied. Oh, I feel whatever. It's difficult to apply that to like Doritos, because Doritos were created to be amazing so that you would keep eating them. They were made that way. And again, we're not saying they're immoral or that you can't ever have them. I just wanted to point out that there are some foods that are harder to get those signals from than others. So when you eat more whole foods, you're going to be more able to trust those signals, as opposed to, more processed foods and things that either have, a higher sugar level or have that sweet, salty, crazy combo that there's no like off signal for. And so that book is really interesting. He's a biochemist, so this isn't like his opinion. This is like science on how this works. So again, just something to pay attention to without judgment. Like if you're eating something like that, is it easy to overeat?
Hey, Christy.
Hi, Kristen. Your hair looks so cute, by the way.
Thank you. It's due for a haircut, but thank you very much. I found this past week that I really paid attention to when I was and wasn't drinking enough water, and how that impacted my hunger.
Yes.
And I definitely had more cravings when I was not drinking enough water.
Yep. I'm so glad that you brought that up, because it's the same with feeling satisfied. Like oftentimes if you're drinking water while you're eating something, you get a much more satisfied feeling. And if you're just hydrated in general, again, you're getting like really good cues. So I'm glad you brought that up.
No problem.
Awesome, guys. Anybody else have any questions or anything before we wrap up? Leah, what are you making? Tell us.
I'm attempting chicken saute, but I'm just kind of putting my own stuff in there.
Did you just put jam in there?
No, this is tamarind. Have you ever had that?
I have, but
it's
not
like
I've never cooked
lemon.
with it.
It's like limey, so I didn't have a lime, so I just thought this is how I cook. Like how I cook. It's like, I'll let you guys know.
Are you gonna marinate the chicken in it and then cook it?
Yeah. Yes. Like a skewer.
Oh.
Yeah. Please do let us know, Leah, because that's my style of cooking. And my son hates it.
Oh, just throwing stuff in.
He's a good cook. I will say he's a very good cook, but he's all about recipes.
I know. My daughter says that's why I'm not a good baker, because I just throw things in, and baking, you cannot do that.
No. Yeah. But I love to just throw stuff together. Boom, bam.
Yesterday I bought this big bag of tilapia fillets. They were like individually portioned. And so it's white fish. It's really like flaky. And I defrosted them in my fridge because I had them in the freezer, and I threw them in the air fryer. I just pushed the fish button and they were amazing. I put a little garlic salt on there. I squeezed a lime and then I made a tiny bit of like mayo with sriracha in it, like you would get on sushi, and put that on top. These were like incredible. And they're like 20 grams of protein for like one fillet. And so these are a really solid choice. So if you've never tried them, highly recommend.
I definitely need to try that. I just got myself a Ninja food fryer,
Oh, yeah.
air fryer, and I have not tried it out yet.
Fish is great in the air fryer. Super
Okay.
great. Well, let's take a quick pick, guys. So turn on your pictures if you want. And then I'm going to go cook Father's Day dinner. We're doing some steak and some corn and some veggies. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Love it. All right, guys, have a fantastic week. If you need anything, just reach out and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Christy,
Bye.
bye.